Welcome to Latvian Football Podcast, where today we'll talk briefly about some Latvian players who are playing in other championships outside of Latvia, and then of course we'll talk about Virsliga game weeks 11 and 12. And I guess we can start by congratulating, I would say, our national team's main striker, Gutkovskis, on winning the Polish championship, extra class. Yeah. I mean, it's quite an achievement, I think, because considering how the journey of the team, he started with the team. It's Hostova. I think that's the name of the city. Rakov, the name of the...
It's just the Rakov team.
Yeah. And he started with them in the second tier, moved up to extra. I don't know how you say it in English. Extra class. I guess, yeah. And
Polish Premier League.
Yeah, we can do that. I think it's 2 or 3 seasons in, and they've already won. Last year they were second, barely didn't make it, but they've won Polish Cups as well. And it's just a sudden rise of the team, and he's been a part of it ever since. And usually he's also the main striker there. He usually gets some competition and sometimes gets benched, but always proves to be the most reliable one. And it's very impressive. And fair play to him. It's interesting to see whether he stays or leaves, because there's probably some demand for him. Well, he's not the most prolific of strikers, I would say, because I think he only got 8 goals in extra class, but still he's a very sort of important for the team. He's not the sort of Haaland type who just taps balls in. He actually creates as well. And
I mean, not many people are the Haaland type, so
a very good point.
That's hardly a helpful comparison. But no, he's for sure one of the main attacking forces there, and occasionally has what I wouldn't shy away from describing moments of brilliance.
Yeah, exactly. He's a very, I think, also hard-working player. Where he always fights for the team, and I hope he stays, because I think it will be interesting to see how far they can go in the Champions League. I think they should at least qualify for the Conference League at least. One minus is that their coach is leaving after the season, who's also been with the team ever since Gutkovskis arrived, and that would be sort of a change. And also hard to say whether he stays because of another reason. Unfortunately, I don't think it's actually that bad anymore, but. Yeah, it got into a bit of a drama during their celebrations.
He won the Premier League and immediately grabbed a loudspeaker, climbed the fence, and started calling the mayor of the city that the club is based in, which, as I understand, there has been some bad blood between the club and the mayor on account of stadium license or construction license, right? And then had to record an apology video a couple of days later.
Yeah, but as he said, he met with the mayor and they sort of shook hands, and I think they're on good terms, and he promised to buy tickets for kids for the next game. On the surface, it seems that it's all good and shouldn't be too bad. Of course, it's not a good thing to do by any means.
It's just unnecessary. You're not even Polish. Why are you getting into the middle of this?
Yeah. And he was speaking Polish as well. And but I guess it's bad because he's talking about the mayor of the city, but the fans are agreeing with them. So he was just playing up to the fans, and I mean, of course, it's not the right thing by any means, as I said, but at least he does have a point, because their stadium, the capacity of the stadium is only 5,500 for Polish champions. It really is lame, just because they have to play in Champions League now, and I don't know if it qualifies even for it. And the stadiums of Poland they're big. Like the team that is getting relegated now, which is also represented by a Latvian, unfortunately relegated. I think their stadium is 41,000 capacity, and if
huge,
and they're getting relegated, so it makes sense that they need a new stadium. And apparently, the mayor has been sort of not against it, but it's tough. Hard to say what really goes on inside of it all. But so at least the fans are agreeing. But not a good thing, but worked out in the end after all. And will be interesting to see what's next for him. I think he's now just at the peak age of his career, and I guess at the peak stage as well.
I would normally agree with you to say that he should probably stay and try to succeed further with this team. But with coach leaving, I just have very strong Roberts Uldrikis vibes with the Kambur, his team in the Dutch Premier League, who last year did absolutely fantastic. And then coach left, and now Roberts, along with the team, are getting relegated.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Just had an abysmal season.
Yeah, it is a good point because Gutkovskis does have mistakes in him as well. Well, namely just missing open goals and from close ranges, etc. And probably the reason he's still playing a lot is because the coach just knows him. But if a new coach comes in, I also have the suspicion that there is a chance that he just gets benched. And if he has some huge offers from, I guess like teams from probably not top 5 leagues, but top 10 definitely. And if it's good money, I think it's hard for a player because you are playing for the passion, but money is a huge reason as well. And I think the salaries can really it will be interesting to see. But either way, best of luck to him. But as you mentioned, Roberts Uldrikis is another Latvian striker playing in Eredivisie, which is a very high standard. And as you said last year,
I believe it is top 6 now, right?
Yeah, top 6 or 7.
The Dutch top flight overtook Portuguese top flight just now.
Oh, there you go. And last year they did quite good, and he scored some goals as well. And this year, no goals for him, mostly sitting on the bench. They're getting relegated, and sad. And as I mentioned, the Polish team, Lechia Gdańsk, also getting relegated, represented by Tobers, who has been one of the most reliable players for them, I think, for a couple of years now. And I've heard that it's quite likely that he won't stay. And it will be also interesting to see where he goes. But 2 relegations, but 1 championship. I'd say still the championship is a very good achievement, and sort of puts a shade on the relegations. And happy for Gutkovskis. And as I said, very interesting to see what future holds for all of these players. And have a suspicion some of them might come back to Virsliga.
Who do you think will come back to Virsliga?
Oh, I think there's a chance that Uldrikis comes back
to RFS, presumably.
Well, maybe, yeah. If Filic leaves as well. And I know that Uldrikis is a very sort of a player who knows that he should stay abroad and then try to play there, because he had some bad seasons with Sion in Switzerland as well, and didn't seem that there's anything going for him, but managed to get a move to Eredivisie and play and score. But interesting to see. Who knows about Tobers as well? Maybe Poland's too much for him. I don't know how many teams are looking at a player from relegation. I guess it's likely that Tobers could just stay in Poland but go to another team. I think that's likely. But Uldrikis, who knows? And I think RFS has the ability to sort of get the players in.
But didn't they... So I read that his contract had a clause where the club can opt to renew it automatically, and I think they did that.
Exactly, yeah. And I guess, since speaking about him and then Virsliga, we can move on to Virsliga and talk about the most recent games, or last 2 rounds of games, 11 and 12, where I guess, again, a couple of interesting results, a bit surprising, and also I think we're getting a real sense of who's the main contenders to fight for the Golden Boot, or to be the most top goal scorer of the season. I think there's a race between 2 very interesting strikers, and at least so far. But there's still some contenders as well. But just overall very interesting. I guess we can just name the results of the last 2 game rounds. That's what we'll do today. Not go game by game really, but just name the results and then speak about the most important things or results or teams. And so the round 11 started off with the game of Auda against Liepaja. I think it's probably the most surprising result of the game round, for me at least, because they're before the game, I think most people would say they're very similar teams in terms of their ability and where they could be placed in the table, and somehow Liepaja managed to just obliterate Auda 4-0.
I mean, we were some of those people. We said that in our last episode, we said that Auda has a stronger squad than Liepaja.
Exactly.
And literally the next day this game happens, and
yeah,
well,
who would have thought?
I wrote on Twitter that it's hard to be an armchair expert sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess it is a bit of a shame because Auda got a red card just in the end of the first half, and it's always hard then to play with a man down, but still,
that's when they collapsed as well.
Yeah, and the first half ended 0-0, but the second half, just straight away, Liepaja just going for it, and another great game for the Edward Stedenbergs, getting a couple of assists. Klushkin seems to be scoring a lot now, somehow, because I think he also didn't start the season well.
But also from Auda's mistakes, the Klushkin's goal, that was just a severe case of miscommunication between Bergqvist and Ondoa. And Ondoa did finally get benched after that game, making space for Ozols in the game in the following round. But yeah, just Auda were a sad sight in the second half of that game, unfortunately.
Yeah, and also it seems that somehow, I didn't really think about this before, but it seems that Auda may have even some problems in terms of their squad size and depth, because they have to. I guess Vyacheslav Isayevs has a minor injury, or maybe not a minor one. He's not even on the team sheet for the game for a couple of games now, and I think it's quite obvious that he really is the main man in defense, because without him it's just abysmal. I think it was Yegor Novikovs, who's usually a right back, playing center back with Bergqvist. Was it? I think it was, right?
I believe so.
Because there's no Isayevs and there's no Mikulic. And a lot of mistakes from both of them. And even Bergqvist, who is the experienced one, also made some mistakes. And just don't know what's going on with Auda. And a bit sad to see, I guess. But they only have themselves to blame. As I've said before, no Isaias, no party. And just a very vulnerable defense in this game. And I guess a deserved 4-0 loss. And looking at Liepaja, it's different now. But after the game, I thought, maybe they actually are maybe able to compete for the top three now, and compete with RFS and Riga. But as it turned out, I guess not really.
Well, they can't compete with Riga at the moment. RFS will see next time. That's their next game. But I mean, if we're not talking about Liepaja competing for number one or number two. Yeah. For number three at the moment, they seem a very credible candidate. We thought previously that would be Auda, but Auda are struggling.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, with just being effective and being a consistent threat, and Valmiera is really not what everyone thought it would be. So Liepaja number 3 seems like a pretty decent betting option.
And speaking of Valmiera, they're definitely not performing as champions and not showing the best football, but I guess they're picking up a bit. Then the next result is Valmiera against Supernova. Valmiera winning 3-1. It wasn't the most convincing of games, but realistically they won deservedly, and I don't think there's really nothing that much to talk about. Well, in terms of this game, Supernova just
picked up a red card.
Valmiera did. Robert Swapes got a second yellow
at the very end, yes.
Which led to a free kick that Supernova scored, but that's their only goal. And otherwise, they just didn't really look. They had some chances, but they're just not a team for Virsliga currently. And when we talk about the next result of theirs, then we can mention that more. But Valmiera at least got a win, as they should against Supernova, considering they did lose the first game against them. Valmiera is not bad, but just not the same Valmiera as last year, unfortunately.
No. they're definitely not a challenger for the first two spots, I think.
Then the next two games are very interesting, I think, to talk about. Namely, Riga against Daugavpils, winning 1-0, and RFS against Tukums, winning 7-1. And what's an interesting fact about this game, that in terms of XG, the expected goals, it was actually the other way around. Riga was, in terms of, was supposed to score, I think, like 5 or 4, and Daugavpils 0, while RFS, like, the right result would have been, I think, like 2-1, 2-0, 1-0. But the actual result was just completely the opposite, which is, I think it's an interesting fact, because Riga against Daugavpils, they were just always pushing, pressing, controlling the ball, having a lot of attacks and shots on goals. But Daugavpils defended very bravely and amazingly, and unfortunately, last-minute penalty is what, made the Riga take the 3 points. While for RFS against Tukums, pretty much everything, all the shots they did went in, and I guess they definitely won deservedly. And I think it's very getting obvious that RFS against Tukums and Daugavpils is almost a very convincing win from now on, because of the lone players pretty much are being the best players in the respective teams. RFS, I guess this game is very good for them in terms of they're finally starting to score, because previously they managed with the finishing, but now they finish pretty much anything they had. So decent, very good result for RFS, and almost a very undeserved draw for Riga, but managed to get the win in the end.
I felt so bad for Daugavpils.
I agree.
As you said, they were defending like lions throughout the entire game, and of course there was a bit of luck, but also just really putting themselves on the line. And then to concede that last-minute penalty, it felt like, come on.
Yeah.
I was rooting for them to get at least a point out of it, or if you have to lose, don't lose in such a I don't know, not really humiliating, but just morale-breaking way. And luckily, the morale didn't break, as we saw in the next game. But the RFS versus Tukums, 7-1, not a result you would guess watching the game. Certainly not the first half. But I can tell you that, to me, this had some very significant deja vu vibes from last year. Yeah. Same time of year, same stadium, RFS just dismantling Tukums 10-0. Obviously not as bad this time, but the motif is the same. Essentially, every shot RFS made, pretty much, went in. Yeah. And Tukums got their goal from penalty, which is a pretty ridiculous penalty as well.
Also worth mentioning that the score at one point was actually 1-1. So at that point I thought, wow, Tukums actually going to do something here, but in the end, not at all. But yeah.
Yeah, 3-1 at halftime and then 7-1 at full time.
Yeah.
Emerson scoring a hat trick.
Yeah. What was the penalty? I can't remember what happened there.
It was so strange. So a Tukums player was making a run on the left flank, made it parallel to the penalty box, then started cutting inside. And Uzela, the Lithuanian midfielder for RFS, he just kind of clipped him on that short stretch where he overlapped with the penalty box, which literally just cutting inside around the corner of the penalty box, and that was the penalty.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, had he fouled a little bit before or a little bit after, it would have just been a free kick.
Yeah.
Of all the penalties awarded during these two rounds, this wasn't the most ridiculous one, but definitely one of the unnecessary ones.
Yeah, well, seems to be sort of a trend with RFS this year. Don't know why, but
still no goals conceded from play. All goals, penalties, and the free kick.
Yeah, and I also want to mention that for RFS, it seems that one of the relatively young Latvian players getting more game time and getting some goals in Dmitrijs Zelenkovs, which is interesting to see because RFS has more or less sort of a defined squad, and sometimes they're bringing other defenders such as Sosh or whatever. But Zelenkovs and Nagasava are really sort of dividing the game time when Ikauneks is injured, and both actually seem to be doing well. But of course, I'm more glad to see Zelenkovs doing well because he's a Latvian.
I mean, so is Ikonex.
Yeah, but he's injured, is my point. And during his absence,
of course, we'll not see him until mid-June.
Yeah.
It seems. But Zelenkovs is an interesting one. He's definitely someone to have a look at. He is from Rezekne, but that's not what makes him interesting. What makes him interesting is that he's a highly technical young player that seems to be able to play pretty much in any field position. We've seen him in midfield, we've seen him as left back, we've seen him as number 9 in this last game, and he's not equally good everywhere, but he seems to be very comfortable whenever and wherever he is called upon to play.
Yeah, and I guess what makes it quite obvious that he is definitely a potentially good player. I can now see he's a good player, but it's the fact that it's not. I couldn't say like he earned the move to RFS because he had his time in Italy during the teen years. But nothing really came of it, and then he came back to Virsliga, played for Metta, but really just not a significant performance from him there. I couldn't even remember him playing. I knew he was there, but just didn't do anything and didn't look like a amazing player. But I guess it's the fact that the coaches know that he has it in him, and that's how he, I guess, earned the move to RFS. And now he's proving it, and maybe he can pick his career up again. Yeah.
To me, he almost seems like an RFS version of what Riga have as well in the persona of Daugavpils. It's these young guys, very technical, very experienced still.
Bit of an age difference, though. Daugavpils is like 20 and Zelenkovs 22 or 23. But still, young. Still young, I guess.
But it will be interesting to see if maybe with them two plus Regja for Riga, maybe we'll see the emergence of the new generation of the national team. Of course, too early to tell, and one can dream, but hey, I mean, they get their playing time. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Good to see that.
And the last game of that round was a spectacular thriller. Jelgava hosting Metta and losing 2-3 in what really became an impressive turnaround for Metta. They were down, and then they just picked themselves up in second half and managed to win. Some very good goals there as well.
Yeah, I love these sorts of games because it was the same their first game in Jelgava. Jelgava and Metta. Very sort of an open football. Both teams attacking without much caution, I guess, and then there's the counter attacks and just a very fast-paced football and interesting to watch. Probably the most interesting game of that game week for me, at least, because it's competitive. Both teams are fighting for that. Well, at least were fighting. Maybe still are. It's hard to tell, but for that top of the bottom spot for the 6th place. Jelgava started good. They got the lead, and in the second half, 3 goals in the space of 9 minutes. Metta getting 2, but then Jelgava equalizing from a penalty. But in the end, a bit of magic from Artyomas Puzerevskis. It was actually quite an interesting goal because what really helped Metta to score this goal was the ball boys of Jelgava. They were very quick to give the ball to don't remember who it was, I guess maybe Kirkils, to do the throw-in. Veikrīgers was off his position and could make it back. Puzerevskis got the ball in the box with his back against the goal, but somehow he managed to weave from like two or three Jelgava players and just score. And that also good for Puzerevskis because I think this season he hasn't really been getting the goals in, which he should as a striker, and definitely a bit of a boost for him and his morale.
Definitely makes one remember that story with Mourinho when he was coaching Tottenham, and one of the ball boys was extremely quick to give the ball, and that also was converted into the goal just for the home team.
Yeah.
So for them, and then the kid got invited to team lunch.
Yeah. But
so like that, but to the wrong team, and I guess no lunch invitation for that guy.
What is interesting is that the commentator even said that he heard one of the kids yelling to the other that you're giving the ball too quick, slow down, because they know they shouldn't be really helping the other team as much. But in the end, I think it would be ridiculous to actually blame the ball boy because, well, they're still players and they should be in their position as fast as they can. And it was towards the end of the game, and that just shows the lack of fitness or whatever. So yeah, well,
no, of course, no one's blaming the ball boy, but I think the bigger message here is that football on a high level is very much a game of marginal gains, and that sometimes maybe a long throw-in can make a difference. Other times maybe instructing ball boys to be quicker or slower in certain situations can make a difference, and it did here.
And that's why we love the game. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for Metta to get a win in, and well, yeah, already after this game, things were starting to look really impressive for Metta, and later on, well, it proved even more so. And yeah, we can, I guess, go into the 12th round, which started off by Valmiera drawing with Auda, which was a bit of a weird game for me, I guess, because in the end, as I understand, Valmiera were very disappointed with the draw, while apparently Auda were very happy with the draw.
I think Valmiera were right to be disappointed. It seemed like they'll get this one, and they were very much the more confident of the two teams, but just didn't have it in them to keep it, and conceded a goal in the middle of second half, and well, there you go, 1-1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, they scored quite an early goal, and yeah, I guess I didn't see that much of the game, unfortunately, but they were definitely the better team. But yeah, what I said about one team being happy and the other not is because yeah, Valmiera put out a very, I would say, a bit of a salty tweet after the game, and I guess rightly so, saying that well, it's sadness for us, but on the other side of the wall, people are cheering. Well, something along the lines of that. Basically saying that Auda were happy with the draw and celebrating it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, and Fal hit a post at one point, so just score your goals.
Would say still Auda not being impressive, but against Valmiera, of course, their main opponents. Well, it's a tough call, and also considering the last game, which Valmiera just somehow won so convincingly 4-0. I guess this is a good result for Auda. So in that sense, maybe I get it, but still overall, starting to feel like somehow Auda and Liepaja switched places at some point. One started the season off so well, the other didn't, and now it's completely the other way around. Something now I can say something's just not clicking for Auda, and I don't know what it is.
They almost seem like they're losing confidence in themselves. You can't really say that the team that started this Virsliga was super confident from how well they performed last year, because there was quite a bit of rotation and a lot of the team had changed. But it's almost like that, and then the further they go, the kind of more deflated they become. With Liepaja, it's pretty much the opposite. There you can almost see the continuity. Also, the team fully reset, but I don't know, maybe the personality of Tamas Pertti and just his sheer force of emotion and anger is pushing them forward. But I mean, they have wind in their sails, and they are marching, well, if not confidently, then definitely angrily forward.
Yeah, and this game also, I guess, confirms what I said about the squad depth of Auda, because well, I'm looking at well, as usual, Valmiera had like the full amount of subs you can have in a game. Auda didn't. There's still 2 spots, so just means that there weren't any players to put in, and also a fact that they didn't even make a single substitution during this game, which is crazy to me. Not making any subs, especially considering they scored in the 62nd minute, so there was still time maybe to get the win even, and not a single substitution. Yeah, have to feel for the people who are left on the bench. Also, Isaievs was left on the bench, which I'm guessing it can't be because of skill. It has to be that he still has an injury or something, which makes it an even lesser of a bench. And yeah, they have to really rethink, I guess, a lot of things during the summer transfer window, because usually, I wouldn't be that bothered about it, but they are playing in the Europe, which is so crazy, actually, Auda playing in Europe, but, well, whatever. But they can't do it like this. now I want to see Liepaja there.
Yeah, well, I mean, Liepaja didn't do too bad last year. They got a really bad draw with Young Boys, but they still performed pretty okay.
Yeah, Karashauskas went mad. Yeah. So that's this game. Yeah, second game of the round. Well, Liepaja, after a convincing 4-0 victory, experiencing a very convincing 4-0 loss against Riga FC, who seem to be kind of unstoppable at the moment. The game against Daugavpils, only 1-0, was a bit of an outlier because they were still very convincing. They just couldn't score. But this game, I'm guessing the stats can't really be against the actual result. I'm guessing Riga were just dominating.
Liepaja had 1 shot on target and 7 shots overall versus 23 overall and 8 on target for Riga, meaning 50% conversion for Riga, which is very, very respectable. And possession was more or less split, but still Riga dominance. It was a very confident, methodical win with Regja scoring 2 in the first half, and then Soisalo and Gutkovskis sealing the deal in second half.
The amount of shots Riga are producing this year is also ridiculous. I don't think that's ever been done in Virsliga. That many shots in almost every game. And it's interesting about the possession, but I guess it's because they're not really like controlling the ball and passing it around the back. They usually just get it to their wing players, either wingers or fullbacks, and they just run with it, and they can dribble past players easily, and they're very very vertical in their football, I guess, just very attacking, and that's why the possession isn't always there. But it's also smart because they're letting the other play maybe have some of the ball, sort of regain their energy, whatever, and then get the ball and go attack. Yeah, it's just very impressive, and Stipic has really done something with the team, and it's good to see because, first of all, it's very unusual to see that Riga is not rotating that much, which is almost every year the case with them. I think they've sort of got their main squad and maybe a couple of players coming in and out of it. And it just seems that, for now, very, very good. And I don't know whether RFS will be able to sort of put some pressure on them. But for now, it seems like a tough job to do.
I don't really see Savalnieks being too successful against Niang unless he forces another red in the beginning right away. Because, Riga have this, as you said, vertical, and they kind of almost very central as well. And then Niang and Regja and Tol have a very good thing going on where they either do a couple of 1-2s on the flank and then cross where Regja is supposed to pick up, or they kind of almost have this 2-2 central attacking formation where on a breakaway Regja and Niang go forward, and then Aurelio and Jojic kind of just behind them, thus overwhelming the middle and creating some very dangerous situations.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that it's not only Niang, there's also Mortal, who is a left back, but pretty much plays as a winger. He's just everywhere. If the team is defending, he's there. If the team is attacking, he's there. Very good player, and I kind of see why the mighty Glody and Gonda from Ligue 1 was not only benched, but just out of the squad, playing for reserves, because, very impressive from number 70 of Riga. And and not only him, but also the right back, Gutkovskis, somehow managed to score in the last minute of the game, just because he just saw that I'm running, and he just went the full length of the pitch, got the ball. I don't remember who did the pass, but a very good through ball, and managed to score from right back. And he was where the attacker pretty much should be. Just impressive from the team.
It was Dashkevich. Passed the ball
there you go.
From the middle.
Latvian as well. So nice to see.
It was a very precise pass,
And just a powerhouse of a team at the moment.
For sure. After that, we had another 5-goal game involving Metta. Again, a 3-2 win, this time over Tukums. A little bit sad for Tukums, who started really well, scoring a penalty in the 3rd minute. But here's the thing with this game. So out of 5 goals scored, 4 were from penalties. There's only 1 goal scored from play, which was by Lukas Vapna in the 45th minute header. Everything else is just penalties. It's a penalty fest in Riga that evening. It's pretty crazy. So Stepanovic's with a penalty in 3rd minute. Then Vapna equalized. Then Metta take the lead in 47th minute. Then we have second half kicking off with another penalty, this time to Tukums, equalizing. Tirš, his 3rd penalty in 3 games, so a bit of a hat trick of sorts there. And then finally Metta taking the final lead on 64th minute with a penalty by Correa. It was just crazy. I haven't seen this many penalties possibly ever.
There's so much to sort of unpack about this because, well, first of all, I saw a lot of negative comments about the referee, Edgar Smalcevs, after the game. And, I mean, awarding 4 penalties is very rare. And I'd say one of them was definitely very questionable. I would maybe go as far as to say that it wasn't a penalty. I think it was the one that was awarded to Metta, where Gutkovskis did the foul, but I think he pretty much got the ball. He was like behind the player.
He did,
but
he
fully got the ball.
Yeah.
And he maybe because he is sliding, the player was caught a bit, but it was after the ball was already out, and very questionable. And Tukums was also very angry after the game, also tweeting away their complaints. Fair enough. Then what's interesting is that so both teams got 2 penalties, and both times the penalty taker was different, but the first one wasn't subbed off, so it was just a decision. So very interesting to see that. Also good to see Vapna scoring 2 goals, finally getting some goals, and I think he's this season just playing deeper than he should. I think he's very an attacking player, and the header was actually very nice. He sort of saw the space, ran into it, and clipped the ball a bit, and very good. And what's even more interesting is that after this game, I believe Metta is now in the 5th place.
Yeah, Metta are in number 5 with 17 points, 1 behind Valmiera and 1 above Auda, but with still game in hand.
Yeah, and I think it's a winnable game against Liepaja, and they drew the first one. So it's, I definitely didn't expect this.
We'll see. Liepaja are angry.
That is true, but still Metta's overperforming a lot, and but it doesn't also seem unfair. But they're actually playing good football, and I guess the squad is actually strong, very strong now. A lot of players just grown up a bit. A couple of more experienced players here and there, getting some young players in as well, but they're also performing good. And I can also say, wow. I didn't expect this. I think I predicted Metta to be 9th or last. Oh, come on. Oh,
last,
no. Oh, no.
I think last.
Oh, no.
I mean, come on. Still so much of season to go. But no, I agree. And
that is true, but I can't imagine them falling off that much. Unless So goes away, which is quite likely because I think he's been the best player for Metta this season.
I really enjoy watching him. Yeah.
Maybe if that happens, but yeah, he is really good. Sort of maybe almost like the Metta won a lottery, because it's often really is a lottery with these foreign players, especially from Africa, I think. And So has been really good. I think he easily goes into Riga or RFS, maybe, but he definitely could play there. So yeah, very good player.
After that, we had another 4-0 result. This time RFS beating Jelgava 4-0. Also, I mean, is it an unfair result? I'm not sure. RFS were dominant, but it should be noted that the last 2 goals came pretty much after Jelgava fell completely to pieces at the back, and the last goal, is just running into space, and then it could have been 5-0 again. Just RFS on a counter-attack, nobody at the back for Jelgava, pretty much from halfway down the pitch, and Emerson hit the post, and then Jelgava goalkeeper saved a follow-up shot by Mares, and that was the end of game. Comfortable for RFS, some very dodgy mistakes in defense, especially a notable one from Stuglis, just kind of didn't intercept the ball, and they resulted in a 1-on-1, unrealized, not converted by the Jelgava player, but overall, like there was, I don't think ever any doubt in anyone's mind that this will go any other way, and Ilic scored 2, which now takes him to the top scorer position, 1 ahead of Marco Reggia.
As you said, not really an unfair result, but maybe RFS got a bit lucky here and there, but then again, they were dominating. But there was this one very good chance for Jelgava when it was still 0-0. And to that point, they didn't look that bad yet. But yeah, they didn't score it. It was a good header, but over the bar. And yeah, then straight after, RFS scored, and then they just started. But still, I think the Jelgava goalkeeper, Edgars Andreas, had a lot of good saves as well. He was really keeping the team in. But yeah, then the second goal, and yeah, then just started RFS complete dominance, and then in the last 4 minutes, another 2 goals. Yeah, I guess it's just quite an obvious result, I guess. Sad to see Jelgava like this. Don't really know what's happened, but they definitely need a coach because they need Redko back in the squad. I think that's for sure. They need this experience back. But yeah, again, as I learned today, the team is quite upset about the absence of Parkons, the fact that he left the team. They're definitely not of the same opinion as the director of the team, Pelans, and maybe that's sort of also getting their emotions.
I mean, with this particular game, it really seemed like it's more a case of lack of experience than emotional state of the team. The RFS are just so much more experienced. They're so much more confident. They just went and they did their thing. And I mean, when I said that there wasn't a doubt in anyone's mind about the result of the game, that's kind of what I was referring to. That just these small things, like when Claudio kind of pushed one of the Jelgava defenders with his back, and thus opening space for I think it was Ilic or Emerson to run through. It's just these little things that maybe a more experienced team or maybe a Redko's squad would have picked up on and not let happen. But he wasn't there. And the defenders that were there and the midfielders, it's just 2 different level teams. Not to say that Jelgava are bad or somehow deficient. They're just young, and RFS are really not. They're one of the most experienced teams in Virsliga.
Yeah, and also you mentioned the fact that Stuglis made a mistake, and then I just wanted to comment on that. That's what happens when you don't really play regularly. When you come on, it's even when you're maybe even more likely when you're like convincingly in the lead, you sort of drift off and do a mistake. And I don't really know why Stuglis is still in RFS. Like, what really keeps him there? Because he's not really playing the game time. He's a good defender, and a striker as well. And just a bit sad that Stuglis not playing enough. But I get it because the squad is good. And also nice to see Ilic finally really starting to score and assist, and same for Emerson, because they had a bit of a slow start, I'd say, but now they're back, and also RFS 11 goals in 2 games, so very impressive from them. But again, not against the sort of biggest teams, so it will be interesting. Honestly, very very excited for the second Riga derby. Should be a very good one.
I mean, it starts now for RFS, so Liepaja next and Auda after that. So we'll start seeing a little bit more resistance.
And the last game of the round 12 took place today, and a very convincing win for Daugavpils, a 4-0 victory against Supernova. And the first thing I can say is that I think now maybe it is even getting clear that maybe the players are indeed trying to get rid of Kolinko. You said that a couple of episodes ago, and I thought that's an interesting thought. But today on Twitter, I even started to reading similar tweets from just followers of Virsliga, which means that getting even more obvious now, I guess. And I think they just need this change. They're not really showing anything. Well, admittedly, Daugavpils did score 4 very beautiful goals today, but still, there's just no, I don't know, no passion from the Supernova players, no resistance, just nothing. And it's sad to see because on paper their squad is still quite all right, but just not performing at all. And I think it's really all in the coach.
They just don't seem to want to sacrifice and commit themselves to anything, because if you kind of break those goals apart, 2 of them were basically identical. The goal by Tsutsurs and the goal by Afanasyevs, which were 11 minutes apart, coming in from the right, cutting into the box, and left-footed shot in. But here's the thing: Supernova defenders are just standing around. So when the Tsutsurs and later Afanasyevs runs by 1, then he's just kind of okay, not my problem anymore. And then the next one, maybe puts a leg out to attempt to block or something, but everyone else is just kind of spectating. So yeah, there's no commitment, there's no concern for the results. It's just kind of like,
Yeah, there's just a lot of poor decision making from them, and it's also weird because it's not like they're always bad. They have these amazing games, such as against Valmiera, when they won 1-0, when it was exactly the defenders just putting everything on the line and being amazing. I think Robert Zelmanis was very good in that game, but then there's other games where they're just very poor. I would even say maybe not really Virsliga standard at all. Be also kind of average for even the second tier, Pirma League, or Nākotnes League, as it the league of the future. But then again, can't discredit Daugavpils at all. They played amazing. Yeah, Tsutsur scored a very impressive goal. Also, first goal was an impressive solo play by Zelenkovs. I really like watching him on the ball, but very impressive. But when I saw it, it was with one turn he basically beat 3 Supernova midfielders, which was very nice to see. But then again, I saw one of them was Oleg Slizans, the most experienced player for Supernova, Maestro as he's called, but he just doesn't really seem bothered. Like he does a tackle, but doesn't get the ball, and then just is not even bothered to run back. And I think he also is not really enjoying his time in Supernova, which is, well, I guess a bit sad to see. But yeah, just no passion. They also got a red card towards the end, and yeah, just a 4-0 loss. And I hope there's some changes in Supernova, because I don't really want to see this league where there's this one team which is like convincingly in the last place and always getting beat by big margins.
Yeah, no, they are minus 24 on goal difference. 7 goals scored, 31 conceded at this point. But, I mean, here's an interesting fact. This was only second win for Daugavpils. Can you imagine?
Yeah, it feels weird because they're playing good. They're not a bad team.
So Daugavpils has 2 wins and 3 draws. Supernova has 2 wins as well. Just everything else has been lost. And I mean, they are still, so if they win, they're equal on points with Daugavpils. So there's still quite a lot of room to maneuver at the bottom of the table. So there's 3 points between the last 3 places, which are Daugavpils, Tukums, and Supernova, with 9, 8, and 6 points respectively. And we're kind of seeing, I think the first 2 teams in the table, Riga and RFS, they've pretty much pulled away by this point. So 32 points for Riga and 28 for RFS. Then there's an 8-point gap to Liepaja. So I think there's still quite a lot to fight for in terms of the third spot. First 2, probably that's going to be these 2 teams battling it out in the Riga derbies until the end of the season. But at the end, it's still a little bit fuzzy in terms of the border. So yeah, from 8 to 7, also just 2 points difference. Jelgava with 11 and Daugavpils with 9. Then there's 5 points between 6 and 7, but really just 2 points between 4 and 6. So there's still quite a lot of movement that we can look forward to.
Yeah, I'm looking at the table and still I just don't understand how Metta are so high. Like, when did they were always very similar to Jelgava in terms of points, and how are they now just 6 points clear of Jelgava?
But look at the last 2 results, 3-2, 3-2. Right, could have gone either way. Could have been 2 draws, could have been 2 3-2 losses, which is something that Metta is also famous for. 3-2 is kind of their favorite result. And
that's a good point, because finally they're on the other side of it, because usually they were the team that lacked the character to sort of stretch the games till the end. Either they were draws or wins, but now they can be the one who get the win. Well, in the end, I guess. Well, be basically the ones that scored the third goal, which makes them win the game 3-2. And it seems that they're starting to build some character and confidence, and it was good to see. And I don't know why I was so pessimistic about them before the season, but wow, they really are very impressive. And even against the big teams, they can put up some challenge and maybe even 5-4 points as they did with Liepaja. Who knows, maybe even Metta is a top 5 team, not Auda anymore.
Yeah, and they drew RFS 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, also on a clean sheet.
Well, I say 3 weeks, but there's like 3 games a week, so that wasn't that long ago at all. But so 3 games ago they drew RFS.
But yeah, in terms of form, also it seems poor, because Supernova just losing to their last 5 games, and just depressive look. And I don't think it can really change if Kolinko is at the wheel, at least in my opinion. But yeah, it also seems that Jelgava are really. Well, I think there's correlation with their results and performance, and the fact that, well, Parkon's left. I think he was really a very important part of the team, and I don't know if a new coach coming in will really help, because, well, Parkons just knew them so well and knew what to do with them. Yeah, I'm clearly still a bit sad about that fact. And what I can say is you can at least see the foundation he has put in. So it's not like Jelgava suddenly play bad. You can still see what they're trying to do. Is just, I guess, his presence is also a huge factor. And
we talked about, what is the factor that Parkons brought, and what is the kind of systemic value of the Jelgava squad. And I think we're starting to see this, because it's not like they got bad overnight. And they are not, but they're just missing this little bit something on top to help them be, this inspirational team that was pulling out these very unexpected and impressive results. Their home base is no longer this intimidating fortress as it was in the first round, in the first lap. The previous losses, they're at home. So against Riga and against Metta now, maybe the forces of time and the progression of Virsliga minus Parkons are really gonna start taking their toll, and I don't see Jelgava as finishing particularly high anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately, seems that way at the moment, and also I guess the tiredness also comes in. I think it was quite obvious against RFS. And I guess the inexperience as well. But at least, as long as they're not going down, I'm happy with that, because they're a fun team to watch, and I'd rather have Jelgava in Virsliga than Supernova.
Oh yeah, I think we will have it, but I do think that Daugavpils will overtake them sooner rather than later, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tukums got themselves together and also kind of overtook. But I mean, even if they do end up finishing 8th or 9th, that's still going to be a very good result for a team like that in the debut season.
Yeah, that's good. And also Daugavpils and Tukums seem very similar at the moment in terms of they're both, you can see they're not playing bad, but just not getting the results they maybe deserve. And it's going to be a good battle between them as well. But again, it's tough. It's tough to say, because if there really are some changes to Supernova, even they could go and do something still, because there's such a small margin between the teams. Very glad about the season, and mentioned the top scorers, but Ilic and Regis seems that it's going to be a good battle. And maybe Stepanovic just comes in, but I don't think he will in the long run. And also a fun fact. Yeah, and also Raivis Tirš is in the 4th spot. 2 Tukums players in top 4, top scorers. It's kind of crazy, but I think of his 5 goals, 4 are penalties.
Yeah, doesn't count as much. Yeah,
so he really is a pen merchant. But I think it's quite similar for Aurelio in 5th place. Well, shared 5th place, but 4 goals, and I think 3 of them also penalties. A lot of penalties actually this year.
Yeah, I mean, come on, 4 in one game. That really skews the statistics quite significantly.
Exactly. And there wasn't even VAR, just the decision making of the referee.
Yeah. Well, speaking of goals and penalties, who do you think deserves the honor of being the goal of the round for rounds 11 and 12?
For me, there's 3 contenders. Maslov's against Metta was a very nice goal. On the left side, cutting in towards the middle, and hit it with his right in the top corner, the far top corner. But it was already impressive, but more impressive because it was with his weaker foot. So that was a good one. Then there's Tsutur's goal today, which was more also, I think, weak foot and also very incredible strike. And Soisolo also managed 2 very beautiful free kicks against Liepaja. One of them went in, the other one came off the post and fell onto Regja, who scored. So, good display from Soisolo. But the free kick he scored was also very, very, very nice. So that's the 3 contenders for me.
I also really enjoyed the goal by So for Metta against Jelgava, where he was coming in from the right.
The left foot.
Yeah, left foot, and it's just so clinical into the bottom left corner, just out of reach of keeper, and just rolled it in there. Just perfect precision.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good point, yeah. But then again, Puzarevskis also scored a good individual goal.
That's a good one as well, yeah. And with so many players around him.
Yeah, but I just think the defenders did just not good enough there, and there's no way he should be getting away from them like that. It wasn't like an incredible move or turn, just poor from defenders, which made it look better, but realistically not. So's goal was good, but I just think that the other ones I mentioned were just a tiny bit better.
Sure.
He's just a good placement, but on the ground of the post. But Tuturs was just an unbelievable strike. Soisolo, a very good free kick, but he's good at them, and I don't know, kind of don't know why, but it discredits it a bit. I don't know, but still very good. And Maslov's on his weaker foot.
I don't have an only choice, but I would lean towards Tsutsurs.
Yeah, I guess that's fair, yeah. Also on the weaker foot, but it was a bit of a volley, a bit further out than Maslov's, I think. And he doesn't score a lot of goals, so I'm very happy for him, a very solid player. And I guess we can give it to Tsutsurs.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah. Well, as usual, either go on YouTube and have a look at the highlights, or hit us up on Twitter at LVFootball_show, and we'll upload the video just immediately after the episode is released.
Yeah, exactly.
And Virsliga continues, and we are going to continue watching it together with you. Would very much appreciate some feedback if you have any for us, things you like, things you don't like. And meanwhile, we thank you for being here with us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for enjoying this season with us.